Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over 5 lane/game combos that are really OP in the current meta. So these are strategies you can try out with a friend, or just if you happen to see one of these heroes picked in your pub, you can pick the synergistic lane partner or game combo. I'm going to talk about which ones are more so game combos than lane combos, even though technically all of them could be lanes except for one of them. One of them is, you better hope it's not your lane. That would not be good. Either way, let's get into it. Let's talk about the 5 game combos / lane combos that are really OP right now. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the gameleap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the gameleap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. All right, getting into number 1, we have Pudge Omni Knight. So honestly, I think a big counter to Pudge is slowing down this hero and kiting him out. On top of that, another one of the counters to Pudge, outside of like Vessel and all this kite stuff I just mentioned, is just hard physical damage, right? Hard physical damage. And Omni Knight kind of solves the problem altogether. In general, Pudge just can't die with Omni Knight around him. You know, yes, there is the dispel factor that will always come into play with Omni Knight plus any hero, but let's assume that there's no dispel. The Pudge is going to be pretty untouchable. And on top of that, even in the lane, this is a pretty solid combo because Pudge really just needs sustain in the lane. Outside of that, the hero can CS incredibly well with his extremely high base damage and rot to help him secure last hits. He can hook range creeps if needed, including large camps if needed if he really wants to snowball his farm. And then in terms of damage, all he needs is a bit of a slow, which Omni Knight can provide with his Hammer of Purity, right? Which is a very common skill build now. People will take it at level 1 for a little bit of harass potential. Then at level 2, you can take Purification, and you can man up with that. I would recommend taking Purification again at 3, because otherwise you'll have mana problems if you go 1-1-1 in terms of skill build. And then into the Heavenly Grace at level 4, 5, 6, even 7, you'll have Heavenly Grace maxed out at that point. So really, this combo is extremely good because in the early game, Heavenly Grace, extremely powerful with Pudge, really nice combo, good for farming, good for keeping him alive, very hard for him to get ganked. On top of that, one thing I even forgot to mention I just thought of is a great way to kill Pudge is to silence him before he gets off Flesh Heap. Flesh Heap is a big component for this hero. If he doesn't get it off, Skywrath ulti does full damage. Clockwork Q does full damage. If he gets it off, Skywrath ulti does 0 damage. Clock Q does close to 0 damage. If he has a cloak, it does 0 damage. And so it's a big part of countering Pudge, which is you can buy Orchid, you could buy Vessel, you can have a Skywrath on your team, and there's plenty of silences in Dota. A big one right now is Death Prophet. That matchup against Pudge is really interesting because everything that Death Prophet does to Pudge is completely blocked by Flesh Heap, but she has a built-in silence. So if she can get a Blink Dagger and get on top of him, it might be a different story. The Pudge can actually get shredded pretty quickly in the 6-second silence duration. With Omni Knight, you can obviously dispel that, and it's no longer much of a problem in the matchup, and that's really huge. They also just buffed Omni Knight massively. It's one of the highest winner heroes at a high level and at a low level right now. So it's really just a very well-rounded hero, and I like this combo a lot. Next up is Phoenix and Faceless Void. Honestly, this combo has been good for a long time. It's just 2 heroes that I think are pretty meta right now. Phoenix isn't necessarily the most meta, and I will say that the hero is quite difficult to play mechanically, even conceptually, like understanding positioning with Icarus Dive and when to egg and so on is very difficult with Phoenix. But honestly, the fact that his shard allows him to Sunray during Supernova means that at level 6, Phoenix Void is one of the highest damage combos in the game because Phoenix's spirits at that point will be level 3. That means the spirits will do 60 damage per second for 4 seconds. That's 240 damage right there. On top of that, you have the Sunray going. Early game, realistically, you're not going to, but you will have the Fire Spirits damage, which is at least 240. And most importantly, you're going to get the full 360 damage from a full Supernova, and that's what it does at level 1, right? So early game, you just have a great way to protect the egg and do damage in the chrono, which Void early game lacks damage. It's you know, there's no way around it. Void early game just doesn't do a lot of damage. Even with Mask of Madness, he can struggle to kill certain heroes that have high physical resistance. Phoenix helps you get through that. And then in the mid to late game, it's a nightmare playing against Phoenix Void because Phoenix has a safer Void in the Sunray. If he gets gone on, the heal can be the difference between him living or not. So that's nice there. Having a save with Void is always kind of convenient because of Time Walk. If he can get it off, he'll full heal. right? But then most importantly, it's just really the damage in the chrono. If you get chronoed next to a Phoenix Void, it's lights out, right? You're done, right? You're gonna die. There's no way around it, especially if this is an overly high level Phoenix, because you get 6% spell amp at level 10 in terms of talents. At level 15, you can take Fire Spirit's damage per second, and at level 20, you can get max health Sunray damage, 1.5%, and you just get annihilated. Literally 3 DPS talents at 10, 15, and 20. All talents that people generally take. Sometimes you'll take 500 health at level 15 if you're afraid of getting bursted. That's reasonable. But hopefully you can kind of see the point and the potential of this Phoenix, right? This Phoenix Void combo. And then Void is just broken late game. It's so easy to shoot down an egg, pop out the Sunray, force the enemy to go on you because the Sunray does too much damage, and then chrono whoever's trying to kill the egg, right? It's so easy. They can't even BKB and hit it. There's really no good counterplay to this combo in the mid to late game, so it really is great in pubs. Coming in next, so I just can't, man. Literally every pub I play, I have to first pick Undying, or if I try to ban it, right? My first step is I try to ban it, okay? If it doesn't get banned, I have to try to pick it to pick ban it, if you know what I mean, right? Where hopefully the enemy picks it and then you pick it. And then if it doesn't get banned, I'm just an OP offlane Undying. But basically my point here is just pick Undying plus any hero, because the hero's stupid. It's really stupid. If you haven't played Undying recently, or you think the hero is overhyped, first of all, you're just bad. If you think Undying is overhyped, you just don't. I don't know. This hero is not overhyped, I assure you. Undying is a heinous hero. It's heinous. It's disgusting what this hero can do in the laning stage. I hate laning against it. Even Enigma, which is actually going to be a combo I'm talking about in this video. Even Enigma, who I think is kind of an Undying response, not only in the game, but most importantly in the lane, it's still not fun. It's still somehow bad. It's still not good. And so, God, I can't take this hero. Please, Valve, nerf it. Just nerf it. Get it out. Get it out. I actually kind of like playing it as a core, so I hope they only slight nerf it. I just want it to be worse. It should be worse. They should make it the Q half as good as it currently is, and I think the hero would be balanced. It went from 0 healing to full healing. They just make it half or something like that. All right, coming to number 4 is Lycan Luna. This one is really funny during the night, but it's definitely legit. So what synergy do these heroes have? Well, first of all, in the game, it's kind of good synergy because, well, there's a couple of reasons. Number 1, Luna needs a frontliner generally. Lycan can kind of provide that, right? He can run in early game, kind of keep up the early game tempo, right? So Lycan's gonna control the pace of the game early to mid game very, very well, right? The hero is a very dominant fighter at that stage of the game, right? Very, very dominant fighter at that stage of the game. So we're starting there. Just overall, nice combo in that regard, works out. And then but really why I'm talking about this combo is the nighttime. It's just so funny. If you haven't played against Lycan or played Lycan yet, it's the freest win, especially if you think your enemies have really bad computers. Because the Howl makes everyone lag every time you cast it during the night. If you think I'm kidding, or you think oh no, I have a god PC. I built my PC. It costed me $6,000. It's not gonna lag when Lycan howls at night. Nah, you're gonna lag. It literally, because the thing about Howl is it makes no sense. Even if you're completely out of vision, the enemy team has no vision of you, it just works. I thought the global Howl would only work on heroes that you see, but for some stupid reason, it works on literally everything no matter what, which is so odd. It's so odd. It's just straight up odd. If you exist, you get howled, and you might be oh, that's not a big deal, surely, right? It's 40% damage reduction for 8 seconds and 7 armor reduction. What did I just say? 7 armor reduction? It's attack damage reduction by 40%. Either way, you get the point. When Lycan has Howl maxed out during the nighttime, 50% of the time, you do 40% less damage. For hard carries, they literally farm probably about 20 to 30% slower because you're not losing 40% of your total damage, it's only your base damage. It's not that OP. But you get the point. It also shoves in every single creep wave. Now, why is this also good with the Luna? Because Luna also gives global damage in the night. And so it's just really kind of interesting how even if these heroes are completely across the map from each other, their abilities just work together and buff everyone up significantly. In the case of Luna, her Lunar Blessing is global during the night and gives 28 damage to all teammates. And this works on something like Lycan with his crit, right? When he shapeshifts, he crits. That works. It works together. It works with any right clicker. If your mid laner is something like Ember Spirit, the Sleight of Fist is going to do way more damage, especially if the enemy has 4 less armor and you're hitting for 28 harder. I mean, think about that, right? That Sleight is going to do probably 50 more damage on a low cooldown, you know what I mean? So it's just, it seems cheesy, but it's really not, as the heroes just straight up have a lot of synergy together. And finally, the last combo I'd like to talk about here today is Enigma Tiny. Basically, you get the lane back with Eidolons and you toss the person under the tower. Yeah, Enigma is very good right now. I think Tiny is fine as a 4. I don't think the hero's broken or anything like that. It's also a little bit hard to play, but this, I don't know, it's just so hard to lane into this. I've seen it multiple times now in my games, and it's just really, yeah, it's pretty crazy because the Eidolons, because you're stacking the range creep, means that the wave is always going to be sitting under your tower. And so if you have a decent Tiny player, any support that contests is just going under the tower. Like for instance, Undying, it's actually very hard for Undying to lane into this lane. It's one of the only lanes that I think is like pretty unplayable for Undying. Because if he tries to trade with the Tiny, he's just going to get tossed under tower, and he's not that tanky early game, right? It's not, it's not that crazy. It's good, but it's not that crazy. And so, yeah, this combo is really, really ridiculous. The only heroes that can kind of survive it are heroes with mobility. Something like Void can kind of deal with it a little bit, but he doesn't really deal with Eidolon, so things get a little bit sketchy there. And finally, the last thing about this combo is you can toss people in the black hole, which is really practical because you can toss them onto the Enigma, and it's gonna put them in the black hole. So it's a really cool combo in the mid game. You can just solo black hole, and then whoever's trying to cancel or simply follow up and hit the Enigma is gonna be tossed into the black hole. And yeah, that's just like a practical combo. On top of that, even if he's not black holing already, Tiny can initiate and toss an opponent onto his teammate and then avalanche, which will also set up for a free 2-man black hole. So there's just so much synergy here because Enigma doesn't want to be the hard initiator generally either. And Tiny is like one of the hardest initiators in the game. And so yeah, it's just a great combo, so much synergy. And yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. See you next one. And I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.